Hey, Stampers, Diane Divich here with DDStamps.com. Hi, Joan. How are you doing tonight? Um, I am, let's see, it's October 3rd, it's 2024. And I've got some great projects planned tonight. My plan tonight is to show the cards that I've done for my October tutorial, so I will get into that. And then I want to talk at the beginning here just a little bit about what's going on with Stampin' Up! This month. So Stampin' Up! Put their kits on sale. I'm actually going to show you a couple of them because they're kind of cool. I like the kits. They're up to 30% off. Hey, Linda, welcome. And the other thing is Stampin' Up! Also put their what they call their starter kit on sale. Hey, Mare, cool. Their starter kit's on sale this month. It's a great deal if you're interested at all. And I just want to let you know that for $99 and free shipping, you can choose up to $155 worth of product this month. So if you're interested in that starter kit, becoming a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, just send me an email and we can chat a little bit about it and see what you think. And it's a great deal. So we have new online exclusives that demonstrators can order this month. A really cute Valentine's suite that just came out. Those will all be available to customers beginning in November. So I'm going to flip my camera, talk a little bit, show you a couple of kits that I have done. And then we'll get started with my demonstration. So this is the kit. This is the, I should have kept the information. It's the new card kit that Stampin' Up! Just came out with. And as you can see, this box, I gotta see if you can see, is really shiny. But you get this great box. It holds all your cards that you make for various occasions. So you got birthday, love and support, special occasions, seasonal, thank you, miscellaneous. And then you get cards that you make in this kit that coordinate, and they all have gold foil. So there's lots of, they're really cute. This was a really super easy, fast kit to put together. And I did a video on it. It's on YouTube. So if you want to check that out, that's one of the kits that's on sale this month. All of the kits are, but I wanted to show this one because I put this one together months ago and then it sold out. So this is the By Your Side kit. It's an absolutely adorable kit. And I almost forgot that I put it together, but I pulled it out today. I just wanted to show you some of the cards that I did with this kit. As you can see, it's dogs and cats. These are all dog cards. And they have cute envelopes that coordinate that you stamped. And then these cute cat kit cards. So this is a really cute kit. And then again, more envelopes. You have some extras down here that of things that I had left over. I just left in here for now till I figure out what I'm going to do with them. I will probably make more projects with them. It's got a great stamp set. Let me pull this out. Oh, it comes with a block. I hope I don't lose my voice tonight. I kind of have a scratchy throat, but I don't feel sick. All right, so this is, let me flip this around so you can actually see what it says. But these are the stamps that go with this kit. They're great. They got two paws, a bone, a little fish, best friends forever. You make my heart happy. I'll always be by your side. And here's to a true friend. So this is just a great little kit. And actually it sold out. Stampin' Up! Now has it back in stock. I have a feeling it will be a popular one, but it's also on sale this month for up to 30% off. I didn't check everything to see what was what. So check those out in the kits in the online store. All right. So this month, I am using Sentimental Wishes stamp set with the Sentimental Wishes dies, which I was shocked when I got my packet of dies because it's so tiny. It's about half the size of a regular set with the envelope. But as you can see, these dies coordinate with the stock, the candles, the holly, the bow, and then you have a little extra piece. And I'm going to use these tonight. A lot of them. I don't remember if I used all of them, but I know I used all the stamps. So I'll put that aside, put those over by my big shot. This is the stamp set we're using. This is the cardstock that I'm using. And just so you're aware, how I work this is I do a tutorial for the month and I offer that tutorial to anybody that places an order from me. This one has 6 cards in it. if your order is over $50, you get a packet of supplies to complete all the projects that I'm doing tonight. The cardstock, the embellishments, the ribbon, and the designer series paper. And I'm using the Sentimental Christmas designer series paper this month. It's really a very old-fashioned looking paper, but really cute. And just so you're aware, this particular paper is our give back program this time around. So if anybody purchases this pack of paper, $3 of that goes to children's literacy across the globe. All right, so we are going to go ahead and get started. If you have questions, pop them in the chat box. I can see it, so I know that people are out there. I'm going to go ahead and use cardstock, and I've actually cut everything. This is a shaded spruce cardstock that I cut in half. I fold it in half, which gives me 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then I cut my designer series paper. Let me grab my adhesive. My designer series paper is cut 4. I know it's really hard to cover up that piece because I love this brown snowflake paper. It's beautiful. So this is 4 by 5 1/4. And the shaded spruce is just one of the many colors that comes, coordinates with this particular designer series paper. Once I've done that, oh, here, I can pull the card out and actually show you. This is the card that I made, and I'm just going to repeat the whole process on this one. So it's really super easy. This piece, I just adhered along the edge there. And then I took a scrap. This is when I start finding out I don't have all my pieces sitting here. Let me grab a scrap of the basic beige. That is a really popular color that I'm using a lot of these days. Let me see if I have a piece right here. Here we go. Here's the scrap. Basic beige is just another neutral, but it's a great color because it coordinates with so many things. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pop these open. This is a rubber set, as you can see. It's a rubber set, not the photopolymer. And as you can see, I don't necessarily always put my stickers onto my rubber stamps, and it's only because normally when open up a stamp set, I'm stamping, and I just don't take the time to put the stickers on. That's just me. I keep the stickers in the kit, but I don't necessarily put them on all my stamps. All right, so there is the first one. It's stamped with shaded spruce, wishing you joy and happiness. I'm going to use this punch, this label punch. I don't know if I can. Anyway, I'll punch it out. You'll see it from the back here. This is a punch that Stampin' Up! Has this time around in their catalog. And if you'll notice, when you go look at it, not only do we have it in punch form, but we also have it in die form. And so I believe the dies, you get 3 dies. It makes the same shape. So this is just one of those options. A lot of people prefer bunches and some people prefer dies. And this is just one of the things that they did this time around so that everybody got what they wanted. So then I took some of the shaded spruce ribbon. This is beautiful, beautiful ribbon. And it's so soft and easy to work with. Let me grab my scissors. Here I thought I was so prepared tonight. 2 basics, adhesive and scissors so far. So I'm just going to fold this over and cut some off. And luckily I had a pair of scissors that are kind of sharp. My scissors need to be sharpened, and so I need to go deal with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take this little label and I'm going to add a couple of dimensionals onto there. And that's how I'm going to attach my ribbon also. I'll put that on there for now because I can always add more. And then I'm taking my ribbon and I kind of am crossing it a little bit just because I want it to, I don't even really have to, but I want it to loop on this end and then come out the other end. And I've used my label with those dimensionals to hold that on there. Once I've done that, then I can go ahead and trim out I actually want these at a different angle, so I'm just going to go ahead and trim them out. And then I'm going to flip this back over, and this time I'm actually going to put the dimensionals over the top of the ribbon, and that will make sure that that ribbon's not going anywhere. And I'm going to add this to my card base. Make sure that adorable brown snowflakes are showing. And then these are the gems, the Drusy gems that come with this suite. So just so I can let you know, when I send you the kit, it comes with, like I said, the papers, the cardstock, the ribbon, enough ribbon to complete your cards, and also the embellishments. And this month, if your order is over $75, you'll get a full pack of these gems, which are beautiful. They're so shiny, to complete your cards. So there is the first card completed. Super easy. I just wanted to do some fast, good looking Christmas cards. Now what I would do with this one, because that shaded spruce is so dark, I would add a little Whisper White piece at 4 5 1/4 to the inside, and just attach that in there. And I believe I just stamped it with "Have a Very Merry Christmas." So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I could do a lot to this card. On the inside, I could stamp it with any of the images we have. We could cut out some of the deer from our scraps that you're going to get, because you're going to get extra cardstock. You're going to have extra. I want to make sure that's the right side up. And do a little decoration on the inside if you chose to. But just makes a really quick and easy, it's really pretty with those sparkly gems, Christmas card. So obviously tonight's cards are all Christmas. And they're all very simple, actually, because there's a reason for that. I figure when you're doing Christmas cards, sometimes you're doing a lot, and you want to make sure that you have, you know, you can do it fairly quickly. So this is the next card that we're making. There's a couple of different techniques I'm going to show you in here. We start again with a half a sheet of shaded spruce, and we're going to fold that in half. This piece of designer series paper actually comes with every corner of it has this design. So it's all the way around it with like an opening in the middle. But when you cut them up like this, you end up with great pieces for a card. A full sheet would be a fabulous piece for a scrapbook page. All right, so once I've done that, I'm going to take that Very Merry Christmas stamp again. This time we're going to stamp it on some basic white. We're going to punch it out with our punch. And the nice thing about the punch is if you've stamped your image or your sentiment crooked, you just straighten it out with your punch. So we've got that piece. And then I took another piece of shaded spruce and I punched it out again. And this time I cut it in half. I just went right down the middle. And then I'm going to take and on my sentiment label here, I probably got a little carried away with the dimensionals, but oh, what the heck. 2 would have been plenty on each side of this. So once I've done that, I'm going to pull off the backing. I am watching for questions, so if you have any, feel free to ask. I got a little paper. There we go. So once I've got that one side, I took the backings off, and then I'm just going to line this up with my other punch and kind of make it a shadow, the shadow effect there. And then I'll do the same thing on the other side. I do a lot of techniques tonight with that particular punch, and then I'm going to show some ribbon techniques too in some of the later projects. So there's that label. And then this is just going to get added to my card base. One of the things I did with this particular card, or this paper, is really fun to do, is to take Wink Stella. And Wink Stella is just a pen that inside of it, let's see here. You pull off that lid, and then it's got paint down inside there. You squeeze this little brush, it comes out this end. But I'm just going to take that and go right over this paper, like the candy canes, the berries. This one seems kind of dry. It's still putting down shimmer. So that's what a Wink of Stella does, is it just puts down a glittery shimmer onto your cardstock, and it makes these cards look, I don't know if you guys remember, but like the old-fashioned Christmas cards that had a light thing of glitter on them, with this paper looking kind of old-fashioned, and then this glitter from the Wink of Stella, it just pops up, makes that paper pop, and even makes it look a little bit more old-fashioned. So I don't know, I'm going to post it up here. I don't know if you can see it. You might be able to see it in this one better. Hopefully, maybe. But it just really jazzes that up. So then I'm going to take some of my ribbon. And this ribbon is so soft. These bows are super easy to make, and they lay very flat. So that's just how I do my first ribbon, with just the one hoop. Don't tie the knot first, just tie it the bows. And then you get a ribbon that's very flat and is actually going to stick to your card and not add any bulk to it. Let me grab some mini glue dots, because I find it easier to put, I grabbed another Wink of Stella too. That one might actually, this might have more of the shimmer in it. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a couple of glue dots, little glue dots, to the back of this bow and attach it to my card. And like I said, it doesn't add a lot of bulk, but it makes the card look very festive. And then we're going to take some of those shimmer gems, and we're just going to add a couple on here. Now it looks to me like you get two different sizes of two different colors. So the silver and gold. And then I'll put one down here. I like to put my gems in groupings of 3. But again, another really cute Christmas card. Very fast and easy. I, again, would actually cut some cardstock and put it on the inside. And this piece actually came, and I cut it off of a piece of the cardstock. Let me see if I can. So it's this piece of the designer series paper, this piece here, and I just trimmed it out and attached it to the inside of my card. I just thought that was really pretty. And if you look close, you can see that I put Wink of Stella onto the berries of that card. All right, that's card number 2. This next card is super easy. It's just a little bit different technique with the paper and, again, the punch. And I'm going to take this time, this is that basic beige, that new color of neutral color that we have. I do love it. And I'm going to attach a piece of Pretty Peacock. Like I said, I love the colors that are in this pack of paper this year. They really just used a lot of fun varying colors. Like, I love shaded spruce, but look at the difference. You can really see the difference between the shaded spruce and the peacock. Peacock is much darker. All right, so once I've done that, I'm going to take this piece of designer series paper, and when I add this to my cardstock, I'm only actually going to put adhesive like on those 3 sides, and I'm going to line this up to the peacock piece. And then once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and take this corner. Let me pull that. I got to trim this off. My cutter didn't quite cut all the way through there. There we go. So I'm going to pull this corner back, and just like at an angle. And if I wanted to stay bulky, so I did with this one, I added dimensionals on here. I'll show you what I did. So I took the dimensionals, and then I pulled off. Did I add 2 layers? Yeah. Yeah. So I put one dimensional down, and I pulled off the backing, and then I'm going to take another dimensional and actually add that to the top of that. So you just get a little bit more lift on this. and then pull this back. And I'm not folding it down because I do want it to have that rounded edge. Now this little corner here, I'm actually going to use a glue dot. So I'm going to pull one off, and I can kind of make it into a little tube, stick it there, and then stick that there. And that will hold it down. And it's kind of just a fun technique with a little flap on it, just to show off both sides of the paper. And I'm going to add one of the Drusy embellishments on there. And as you can see, depending on where you cut your paper from, this one has some evergreens that peek through. This one has snowflakes. So it just gives it a little different look. Now for this one, I'm going to use this little stamp that says "For Someone Special." And again, with the basic beige paper, I'm going to stamp this down. And then I'm going to go ahead and use that same punch. Only this time I'm going to make it a smaller label. So this is one of those techniques that you could do with just about any punch you have. What I'm going to do is I'm going to line this up so that the "For Someone Special" is close to the edge of the punch where I want it. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to slide it back into my punch. If you look inside your punches, there's this little slot right here. And if I slide my paper into that slot, which is not always easy to do, especially when you're on camera, but if I flip it, I can kind of see. It just adds a little versatility to your punches. I can slide that in once I've got it in there, and then pull it to where I want that to punch so that it's lined up how I want it. Punch down, and I end up with a label that's smaller. Now you could do this particular label like this. You could do that with any of your punches. It just gives you a little bit more versatility with your stamps. All right, so once I've done that, on this particular card, I took the Wink of Stella. This was actually a different one that was sitting on my desk. I have a feeling it might have more Wink of Stella in it. And I went ahead and highlighted the lights on my candle so that the aura around the candle was glittery. I'll do back here too. This Wink of Stella obviously has more in it. So you could just do the lights of your candles, or you could go ahead and do the whole thing. And if you look on this particular card, you can see where the shimmer is. I've shimmered, the whole candle and then the flowers underneath. And it just makes this paper change and makes it so Christmassy with all that glitter. So try this technique with any of your designer series papers that you have. You can kind of pick and choose. I do some more with more of this paper in the next projects. But there's something about Wink of Stella and Christmas that it just really changes the look of a card. I love it. All right, so there's card number 3. Card number 4 is this one. And again, I'm using shaded spruce, and it's a half a sheet of cardstock folded in half. We are using these 2 sheets of designer series paper. And so it does, Linda. This looks totally vintage. Even the back, all of this paper looks so vintage, but I love it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put my designer series paper with the trees, and then I have this striped pattern that I love. And I'm just going to do a strip down the side here. Let me pull up the card so you can actually see what I'm making. This is the card. And again, you will see there's lots of Wink of Stella on this one. So once I've done that, I went ahead and took a tape and just kind of went right down the seam and added a ribbon. So I'm just going to add that ribbon on there. Nice thing about this is you can pull it up and make sure it's straight. And then I'm just going to trim it off at the edges. It doesn't look straight to me. Just do a little bit of finagling here. All right. And then you're going to cut this edge off. So I just cut both edges off. It just makes for a really fast, pretty card. I'm going to take my Wink of Stella, and actually I Wink of Stella'd the front tree, not the shadow of a tree behind it. This, can't tell if this is working. I'm going to move that one out of the way so I have to quit using it. Yeah, this one's working much better. So Wink of Stella is one of those things that every stamper should have, because it adds so much to a card. It's not messy, which is wonderful that it's not a glittery mess. And you get that shimmer and shine. All right, so one of the other things I did with this card, you can barely see it, but if you were looking at it from my point of view, you'd be able to see it, is actually I put a little Wink of Stella right on the stripes of this or this designer series paper. And then once I did that, I also took a Wink of Stella. I guess I can use my scissor, I guess. And I squeezed some out, and then I tapped it. And what you end up getting is sprinkles. You get sprinkles of glitter, shimmer. You might be able to see it on this. Like this card got a big blob there, but it just shimmers up everything. All right, Joan, I love all these. I had not bought this paper, but now I may need to. I have several craft shows coming up. Christmas cards, a must. Yeah, Christmas cards are, and you don't have to make them complicated. Adding some ribbon and some shimmer. All right, so I'm going to take this really beautiful brown snowflake paper, pop it into my punch here, punch out a label. I actually took this and added Wink of Stella. I'm just doing the edges because I'm going to have a label over the top of it. So add Wink of Stella. You've got your shimmer. Once you've done that, I'm going to take this, and this time I'm going to use the Let's Celebrate the Season stamp and the Shaded Spruce ink, and ink this up onto here. And again, I'm going to make this, you're fine, Sylvia, because it's taped. Hi, Karen. All right, so I'm going to go ahead with the punch. I'm going to line it up. Again, this is a real squeeze, but I wanted to show using the punch the vertical way too. So you're going to line that up. And how I'm lining it up is up here by the Celebrate so that it's even. And then down at the bottom, I want to make sure that I've got season right where I want it. Punch it out. And then I can go ahead and slide it into my punch. And that's just that little groove that's right there, the cutting groove. Once you find it, you'll get it every time. And then punch that out. And so you'll see that I just made different labels in different sizes. So this one is actually going to go on this label. And I kept this label the same size. I didn't cut it down because I wanted that paper to show. You know what? I didn't do it that way. If I look at this one, I want to show you this because this makes it bigger. So let me start this over. No, I'm not starting over totally, but let me just grab another piece of paper. Because now I see that I actually made that punch wider. So you can go vertical. We're going to take a piece. Oh, you know what I did? I know what I did. It's just taken me a minute, ladies and gentlemen. So punch 2 punches. I'm going to take this one. You're going to add this right onto the top of your other punch. So you get a little bit wider of a punch. So I took off the Let's Celebrate. I suppose oh, it's over here. I'm going to add the Wink of Stella. So I'll go ahead and Wink of Stella, and that kind of covers up the seam. And then I'm going to add this to the middle of that. And so you can see where you get a label that's actually bigger than just the size of this label. So a couple of fun ways to use your punches. Make them a little bit more versatile. I'm going to add a couple of dimensionals. Add this to my card front. I'm going to put on one of these Drusy Embellishments. So it kind of looks like that's what's tacked on there, holding that label on there. And then I'm going to tie a double ribbon. And I wanted to show this tonight because I love this technique. It's not hard. Once you get it, but sometimes it takes a little bit. So you're going to take a piece of ribbon and you're going to let the tail hang down here. And we're going to actually wrap this around 2 times. That's going to give us a double. I have a whole bunch of extra ribbon. That's going to give us a double ribbon, a bow. So we're going to come around. We're going to put it through your finger here, like that. Then you're going to wrap it back around and you're going to come through this loop here. So when you do yours, don't cut your tail, so don't cut your ribbon so long. I'm going to pull that through and then pull this tight. And I can kind of arrange the bows how I want them. And when I pull that tight, somewhere I messed up, just a second. All right, so we have your tail. We go around your fingers. We come through here. I did it this afternoon. It took me 1 try. I got the whole thing done. You go through there. I will do a separate video of just this bow tying so that it doesn't get so mucked up and people can follow it better. But I kind of chuckled because I sat this afternoon with the dogs here and was able to tie several ribbons practicing. Oh, there we go. Once you've done that, then you pull it tight, and then when you pull it off your fingers, you just have to do a little bit of adjusting of your ribbon. But you've got these beautiful bows that are easy to manipulate and make them, and they're kind of flat. So they don't add a lot of bulk to your cards, but yet they add a lot of Christmas to this card. I'm going to go ahead. Oh, shoot. I wasn't on camera. Is that what Joan just said? I'll do it again. I'll do it again. And then I'll make a separate video. So there's your bow for that. All right, so I don't know, this might even be long enough. So, okay, you have your tail. You go around your fingers. You come up through your fingers there and down through here between your fingers. And then you bring this same piece, the end of the tail that we're working with, is going to come through right here. There's a loop right there, right at the top. And you're going to come through that and then pull it tight. Was I on camera that time, Joan? I have a hard time because I keep pulling it towards me. And then I kind of have to lean over to work at my desk here. So there's your ribbon. It just makes such beautiful ribbons, and it's so easy. This is a great This is a great ribbon to do this with. Joan, let me know if I was on camera that time, because I wasn't watching. And if I wasn't, I'll do it again. Did anybody see me? Oh, okay, good. She said it was better. So anyway, so that's card number 3. This is one of my favorite techniques, is that bow. So I'm going to save that for something. All right, so the next few cards, I actually use the images in this stamp set. I'm going to use some Memento black, and I'm going to use our watercolor pencils. And I'm going to be doing some die cutting and some embossing. So let me, there it is. I was like, I know that I had a Memento pad. I am using Memento. Perfect. All right, I'm using Memento ink for this one. This is the card that I'm making, because the reason I'm using Memento is because I'm using these watercolor pencils just as colored pencils. I will show you how they watercolor, and if you're going to do that with them, you need to use StazOn, because that's our permanent ink. All right, so another basic beige base. We're going to go ahead and fold that in half. I'm going to come in with some basic beige ink. Let me grab it here. And this time I'm going to use the Ivy stamp. Put this on this block. I'm going to ink this up and just do a little tone-on-tone stamping. So I've got the basic beige cardstock, and you'll see that I'm kind of flipping this Ivy stamp so that it's not always stamping in the same direction. I want to stamp around my cardstock and make it look random. And in order to do that, mostly I move my cardstock. You kind of keep the stamp in the same place. Move around your cardstock. So the tone-on-tone is just the basic beige with the basic beige with basic beige ink. Just gives me a little bit of a background using that stamp. All right, so next I've got some shaded spruce, which I'm going to make into a banner here, down here in the corner. So again, you go up the middle, make sure I'm in the camera, and then from corner to the top of your slit. And then some people flip it around. Probably easier to flip it around and do the exact same thing on this side. So I just make a banner. This is going to get attached to my card. Again, this is one of those cards that looks like you did a lot to it. I'm going to take my designer series piece of paper here and just layer that on my card base. And so I'm just layering it on to make sure that these edges are about the same. I'm not too finicky about how it's perfect. I just eyeball stuff a lot. You know, you wouldn't want it too perfect because you do want people to know you made it. And I'm just adding Wink Estella to the stripes on this paper again because I think it makes the paper really pretty. Then I'm going to take another piece of beige, and I'm going to use a circle punch this time and just cut out a circle. And this is actually going to get placed right in the middle of that. So it's just to highlight my candles. So I'm going to put that on there. So this is a great pattern for any card that you want to do. If you have papers, anything. You know, we have those patterns in the catalog. This might even be one. I don't remember. But this is a great pattern. You could do any cardstock, any designer series paper, any stamp set with this layout, and it would be a cool card. All right, so once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and take a piece of basic white. And this time I'm going to use the candles. So I'm going to ink up my candles with Memento. So I did 3 images. So bear with me because I got to color those. But I'm just showing you the the watercolor pencils. And this is the watercolor pencils assortment too. And of course I looked tonight online and it's on back order, but they're coming back in. It's just that it's, for right now, they're on back order. I like this set because you get a wide variety of colors in various different families, but it gives you certainly enough to play with to. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, and if you'll see on these candles, there's little highlights. I'm just putting a little bit of color where the highlights are. And I'm highlighting it with blue because I kind of want these colors, or these candles, to actually look like they're white. And so I just figure a little bit of highlight of blue might bring out the white in them. Okay, and then I went ahead with, I think I used like cherry cobbler. And again, I'm just putting some color on here. And then I went, there's two different greens, and so I'm going to use them both. I'm going to use the Granny Apple Green on the ivy, and then I'm also going to come in, and I'm just coloring, not hard, just enough to put some color down. These are fun because, like the blends, you can blend with them. But then I'm going to touch them up with a blender pen here in a second, and it really just makes the colors pop. Like I said, these are great for using as colored pencils, but they're watercolor pencils, so when you get them wet, they blend. And then I'll come in with a little garden green, and we're just going to add right where the highlights are of this stamp set. It's all marked with highlights. I'll just put some green in there. Doesn't have to be. There's some branches here, some evergreens that I'm going to go ahead and just put a little green on them. Put some green on these ivies or hollies. And then I'm coming in with crushed curry, and this is going to get colored into the light of the candle. Like that. And so once I've done that, when I bring in a blender pen, which is just a pen that has liquid in it, it's a brush and pen, it's like a paintbrush. The liquid is inside there, and it makes it easy to blend these out. And when you see that the colors really start to pop as you blend them out, I'm going to go through and do all the green and then all the red. So, and then show you how I cut one of these candles apart to make my image look a little bit different then. All right, so once I've done the green, color it off onto just a piece of paper. Then the red. The nice thing about the watercolor pencils is you don't have to do it right away. So you could color a whole bunch of images with the pencils, and then when you're ready, go ahead and use your blender pen. And again, another easy way to do a lot of Christmas cards that look fussy, but really aren't. That's it. All right, so once I have those colored, I'm going to close up this because I really don't want that ink all over. I'm going to go ahead with my die. I'm going to cut these three out. I'm going to do this off camera only because it's too much work to pull it into here so that you can see me. I'll bring it over and show you how I set it up so that I don't have any issues. So we have plate number 1, plate number 2, whoops, plate number 3. And for anybody that was in my class on Saturday, you'll know I lost my plate during class, but I found it. So I ended up pulling out a new one, and I think I'm going to use it because it looks so much nicer. But yeah, I was doing a class. It was right here. I found it immediately after I shut the camera off and class was over. So I'm going to go ahead and tape that down so my die doesn't move. Run this through the machine. I'm going to do that 3 times. So I can get these images. I reuse this Post-it tape over and over and over. And I actually stamped these, I don't know if I said that, but I stamped them on basic white cardstock. You could use any cardstock. The watercolor mark pencils will work on all of the cardstocks. You'll just get a different look depending on what your base color is. And our cardstock, like our basic beige cardstock, has a little more texture to it. So you probably would get more color onto your image. Okay, I'll do number 3 here. I want to make sure I line it up. And cut this one out. Pull that off. That's a scrap. There's those 3. I'm going to go ahead and cut a couple of pieces of shaded spruce with this little vine thing that comes with your dies, because it just adds a little bit to the card. And so I'm going to run through and get a couple of those. And then we'll layer up that whole piece of my card there. Go ahead and poke this out. You can actually see the piece that we make. Cut another one. And then I think I'm ready to put it all together. This card was a little more fussy, but I really like it. And just sometimes you just want to be a little more fussy. So that can go there. This can go over here. All right, pull this one out. There is a piece right here and right here. So you really get a vine that's pretty delicate. All right. So those pieces, and then I'm going to take a little strip of ribbon in that shaded spruce. This is one of those cards that shows you how everything kind of coordinates. All right, so I've got my base done. I'm going to take one of these vines and a mini glue dot. I'm going to put it on there. I'm going to add my ribbon, and I think I want to cut it a little bit shorter. That might be just a little too long for me. And again, I can just put some adhesive across there and add my ribbon. And then I'm going to take my vine, another vine, and add this one on top of that ribbon, just to give it a different look. And then I've got these images. And so this first image, I'm going to do one of them on here that's just right over the top of the ribbon onto the circle. I'm going to do the second one. This one's going to have dimensional on it. So it's going to just give my candles a little bit of a dimension and make them look like they're, you know, like they're all at different eyesight. So there's that one. And then I'm going to take this one. And on this one, I actually cut these hollies off because I wanted to make it was like missing something. It was missing something over here. And so I cut the holly down and then I attached that kind of behind this one, just to bring that holly across farther. And then I couldn't, like, you have to use those. So I just add a little adhesive and I slid these down right behind that. And it just gave me enough of a dimension to make it look like I'd really worked hard at that, which I didn't. All right, so then I'm going to go ahead and use my Celebrate the Season. And so on this one, I'm going to use the Shaded Spruce. I'm going to stamp this down, and you'll notice I didn't stamp the whole stamp because I only want the Celebrate. And so for this, I actually just trimmed it out. So I'm going to cut straight across the bottom, and then straight across this way, and then cut that at an angle and cut this straight. And it just gave me a Celebrate that I can add on to my candles. And again, you can go in with your Wink of Stella and actually on your frames. The other thing that you can do with these watercolor pencils is you can use the Wink of Stella as a paintbrush. The Wink of Stella has enough liquid in it that it will blend those out. So I could have skipped the blender pen and just used the Wink of Stella as a paintbrush and just add so much. So yeah, use the Wink of Stella as a paintbrush. It's cool. Now adding that glitter on there made a big difference for those candles. And then again, I'm going to come in with these Drusy, I think that's how you say it. These gems, they're so big and they're so bold. But they don't add a lot of bulk. So there's card number 4. Fun set. This is the very old-fashioned looking cards. I'm going to do my next card's going to use the same techniques. I'm going to do a stocking card. So I'm going to start with a basic beige. I really love this color and it works so well with so many things. And then I'm going to use, this is Poppy Parade, which is kind of a bold red for this, you know, considering my other cards. But this bold poppy matches perfect with the paper. So I'm going to go ahead and lay my folder in there. I'm going to put this through my Big Shot so that the folded end goes in first, the open end comes out, you know, goes in last. The reason that you do that is putting it through the embossing machine puts a lot of pressure on the folders. So you want to use one. You want to put this in there. Make sure your fold is going in first. So then all that pressure comes out this end that has an opening for that to pop out. And then you're going to use plate number 4, which is the plate that you use for the 3D embossing folders. It just adds enough oomph so that you get a good impression of that embossing folder. And when I take this out of here, open that up, I've got a great embossed piece. This is the tile, the distressed tile, and it just works perfectly with this paper because it's old-fashioned antique-y looking. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to add this onto my card. Whoops, let's get it straight. This is a piece of the Designer Series paper, that peppermint stripe. I love it. And this goes right to the middle of my project. Again, I'm going to take just a small strip of the ribbon. Just adds a lot of texture. Add that onto the bottom here. And then I could trim this out to how long I want it to be. Once I've got it on there, I'll just trim that. I'm really impressed with how sharp my scissors are. Because usually I grab the pair that's not sharp. This was good. All right, so I've got that. Then I'm going to take the Have a Merry Christmas, and we're going to ink that up on a piece of basic beige. I'll go this way so I make sure I have enough. Ah! I caught an edge. You see that? We're going to do it over. I'm not going to press so hard this time. All right, so why I caught an edge was because I rocked my stamp a little bit, and I got ink on the edges of this up here. See that ink right there? So when I rocked it just a little bit, it hit my paper. But realize it's just paper. Punch that out. We're not really doing much to this particular label, except that we're going to take a little shaded spruce and a little sponge dauber. We're going to get some ink on there. Dab it off a little bit because I don't want this to be too much. And then I'm going to just go around my edges and add some green. Now I could have done any color. I mean, I could have done basic beige. That would have been pretty. But it just gives it that antique look. And once I've done that, I'm going to flip it over, add some dimensionals. Stamp this, put this on here. And then I'm going to get a scrap piece of paper. And this time I'm going to use the stocking. I put that on at an angle because the stamp was a little bit bigger than the block. We'll go in with some Memento black. And then we're going to go ahead, I'm going to cover this up before I end up with my fingers in it. And we'll pull out our, we're going to pull out our colors again. And one of the things that I have in my other set of Stampin' Up! Watercolor pencils is a white. And I like to use the white onto the toe just to make sure that it stays white. And then I'm coming in with Cherry Cobbler. And again, Stampin' Up! Has made these so that they have highlights in them already, or shaded areas. I'm going to color this whole thing in with Cherry Cobbler. But you can see on this stamp image where the shaded lines are. I'm just going to add a little bit darker color there. And I can choose a lot of different colors to add in there. It could be another red, it could be a brown, it could be a gray. It could just be more of this same color. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to color in all the stuff I want to be Cherry Cobbler while I have it out. Do my little candy canes here. Hopefully get every other line. Do this candy cane. I'm going to use the Wink of Stella this time to use these as watercolors, just so you can see how that blends in. And it really does make them beautiful. All right, so there's that color. I'll come in with Garden Green. So you get a light watercolor or colored pencil look to your project until you add the water or the Wink of Stella. Oh, except you know what? That's Coastal Cabana. Here I thought it was green. I should have known that I was coloring it, which is fine. I can just go over it with... The Coastal Cabana was kind of pretty, but I knew my pine trees were looking more blue than they were green. I'm going to color over it. It'll probably make it a fun looking tone. And we'll color this little ribbon here, which you can barely see. Come in with some crushed curry. And I'm going to do this last one. This one's going to be pink. I am going to add a little white on here because I want to add on the Winkestella too to that. All right, now if I chose to on this stocking, if I wanted to go a little bit darker, I could take in more cherry cobbler and go right over those shaded lines. Or you could take even like crushed curry. I'm going to take Cajun craze and just add a little Cajun craze in here, which will make that shadow just a little bit darker. And then I'm going to use my Winkestella as a paintbrush. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up, and this really, we're going to do this one first. So we're just coloring over the whole thing, and you can see how it starts to blend those colors. So I'll do a close-up here shortly. But it blends those colors together and gives them the shimmer. Do the toes of the stockings and the fur. I just want to be a little careful over here where that ribbon hangs down that's green, because if I hit it, I'm going to have green fur. And then again, I can just go ahead and color all my image. It really gives it a lot of shimmer. I like the shimmer on the evergreens. It's really pretty. I wish that my camera would show it as pretty as it really is, but I'm trying to see if I can catch it in the light. Anyway, it's really pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and use my die cut and my tape, and I'm going to run this through my embossing machine. So I use plate number 1, plate number 2, a clear plate, the cardstock with the image, and then another clear plate over the top, and run that through. And you get your image cut out. Winkestella dries very quickly too, so it was dry before I put it through. Gosh, can you see that? Oh, it's so pretty. All right, dimensionals on the back of my stocking here. Add that to my card base. And then come in with those Drusy Embellishments. And this time I added them right to the label. Try to get them even. There, much better. Yeah, they turned out great. So there's card number 6, right? So these are all the cards that are in my tutorial for this month. And so like I said, if you place an order with me, you'll get the tutorial PDFs for free. If your order's over 50, you'll get a packet of supplies beginning of next month for all of the cards. And if your order's over 75, you'll get all that plus a free pack of the Drusy Embellishments. All right, does anybody have any questions? I did love this set. I wasn't sure about the paper when I first got it. But the more I played with it with the Winkestella and made it, it's just so antique-y looking, and I just loved how all the cards turned out. They're not hard, they're very quick cards. I wanted them to be that way because we make lots of cards at Christmas time. So, anybody have any questions? Specials are 30% off kits this month. Starter kit special. that it? Yeah, that's it. All right. Does anybody have any questions? I'm going to say good night. Thank you for coming. I will see you next week. I do love the DSP. This one, is this the one you like? Melanie? I love that DSP. I love it all. Really, it's beautiful. And the other sides of the paper are just as pretty. I just didn't use it all. But, I'll probably make more cards with it. So, if anybody has, this is it, man. If you have a question, ask now. Thank you. Thanks, Lynn. All right. Good night, everybody. See you next Thursday. Bye-bye.